Go. I only just remembered to hit the screen recording now. It doesn't matter anyway, we've not taken any trades. Okay. In Bangkok for the next week and doing some islands. Would go to Pattaya. Yeah, let's do it. You know, depends what area you're in. You can come Pattaya, grab a. You know how to ride a bike? You can have a race. You can have a race. I don't want you to pass away when you come Pattaya. So if you can't ride a bike, don't ride a bike. You know, not a moped. I mean like an actual bike. Yeah, I know we can hit up a few restaurants. I know some nice restaurants here we can go to. But yeah, what islands are you planning on going to? Because I've been to majority of these islands, and I would, from personal preference, not go to Koh Samui. I've got an S1000 RR in Atlanta. Pull up. Yeah, come on. The S1000. I mean, your bike would smoke the bike that I'm currently on. I've not got nothing fast at the moment. I'm on a Z1000. I just hitting a few wheelies, you know. It's quite a fun bike to ride. It's comfortable. It's forgiving on your spine, you know, because it's a naked bike, so it's not aggressive seating position, and also the pegs as well. The pegs are not super high up on like a race bike, so it's easy to ride. But yeah, the S1000 would smoke the Z1000 any day. Yeah, they all got their pros and cons, you know, all these bikes. You know, I was going to buy the H2R, and I've been trying to find someone who's selling it. No one's selling it, you know. No one's got it in Thailand. Can't buy it anywhere. It's illegal, street illegal as well. And also, I believe it's actually too much to buy, right? Because the amount of CC, the 300 horsepower, whatever it's got, you know, when I say too much, it's got too much horsepower, that I would end up dead. And I think it's too much for myself to handle, and I don't think I'd last longer than a few months on it, you know. So I'd rather have something that I can still control both bikes, but the H2R is built for, say, roads like, what roads? Like Phoenix. If you're in like Phoenix and you have these long desert roads, oh, this is nice. Here you go, look at this. You're getting a shift in market structure, okay. We're inversing an order block here, okay, which can be potentially paired with a gap. With obviously swept buy side, we're shifting structure here. Let's have a look at the 5 minute. Right, so 5 is obviously bearish, and the 15's bearish. So this would be A plus. If we get a bearish gap here, I'll be taking it. Okay, so we are getting a. No trade. No trade there, guys. No trade. Only if top step would work, right? That's what someone commented. Big Kez copped the R1M. Yeah, beautiful bike that. It's a beautiful bike. Love it. It's the only sounding bike which sounds like that bike. Sounds like a muscle car. You know what I mean? Yeah, back to the H2R topic. You know, it pushes over 400 kilometers an hour, or just up to that. It's not really the best round the corners because it's so heavy. It weighs 15 kg more than the R1M. So the R1M takes it around the corners, and the H2R takes it in the straights. And, you know, Gear 1, Gear 2 is apparently pretty unbearable as far as throttle management. So if I've got someone on the back, or I'm taking some ting back, right, she's going to go flying off the back just with me pulling the throttle 25%. So there wasn't anyone selling. I don't think I will get it until I get back to the US, and then I'll buy H2R. I'm going to buy one, you know, but I'll buy one when I get to the US. It's not built for where I'm at the moment. Matter of fact, the H2R will be absolutely lovely in Dubai. See, I will buy one when I get to Dubai. It's a good idea. Yeah, I seen the video of someone doing Isle of Man in the H2R. That was mad. Don't know what that noise is. Don't know if I've got like a cricket in my room or something. What the fuck? Yeah, you can see here, so the reason, guys, for taking no trade here is because it's absolutely essential that we seek a gap on NQ and ES, and there's no gap on NQ, but there's a gap on ES. So there is no trade here. I think there's actually a cricket in my room. There actually is. I don't know where it is, I'm going to have to kill it later. Get one of those fly zappers, you know, the electric shock ones when you just like, you start frying them alive. You planning on buying property in Thailand? I actually can't, because as a foreigner, I've actually looked into it. You can't own over 49% as a freehold as a foreigner, right? So, you know, I'm not going to give 51% of ownership and an owner to a Thai person. So, yeah, they don't make it easy. So, I'm just going to look to acquire more apartments over in Dubai. And potentially Miami as well. I'm actually looking at the moment in saving up to buy a place on the Palm. I've seen them going for about 5-10 million USD. So that's the plan, right? 25% down, move on to the Palm. The time zone there, 5:30 open. I'm starting to prefer Dubai over Miami, you know. Everyone's in Miami. I don't want to be everyone. I don't want to be with the mass. Of all these people flexing on each other with their cars in Brickell. Pretty done with it, to be honest. I've been there for a long time. Eventually, you do get a bit sick of it. So, I'd rather go to Dubai and see the flexing scene there. Yeah. No trades as of now, guys, you know. Make sure you got enough discipline to hold yourself from taking anything outside of the model. Miami is not what it used to be. It's not, is it? You know? I think it's falling apart. Slowly. I mean, it's improving. It's not exactly falling apart. I can't lie, it is improving. There's a lot of investments. Like BlackRock's just bought a massive building or whatnot over in Miami. Massive developments getting built there. The Aston Martin building got built a few years ago, obviously. That was a big development. They got a new one close to the expandable bridge in Miami. That's getting built. I seen the last time I was in Miami a few months ago. Yeah, just the same old stuff, really. People not really that. No, they're friendly in Miami. They like to definitely like obviously speak to each other and network. But I'm not really about networking. I don't really like networking with people, you know. So I network with myself. I know it sounds strange, but the only person who's actually going to improve yourself and expand your knowledge is yourself. No one with more knowledge than you, unless you're giving them some sort of value. If I'm coming and approaching someone who has knowledge that I don't, they're obviously going to want something in return. So I'm going to say, look, I can manage your accounts. I can do this. I can provide this. Okay, you provide me something and let me learn or understand about real estate. But 95% of interactions with people that you believe are on a higher level than what you are at, they're not going to want to speak to you, and especially they're not going to want to give you advice. They give you basic advice. Oh yeah, bro, be disciplined, bro. Okay, yeah, that's bullshit. It doesn't get you anywhere. They're not actually going to give you business advice, sit down and actually have a drink with you, unless you're actually making them some sort of money and there's an exchange. Right? Without exchange, there's no exchange. So I've never really been about networking with people. Increase your value as a person. Watch people try network with you. That's the biggest thing. Okay, so here we have another bullish order block, and our shift is now below this low, and our shift on ES is below this low. ES still holding that bearish gap slightly. Yeah. Okay. So whether ES holds it or not, I don't really care. But if it does, it would be a confluence to a shift lower from now. We'll have a shift or we don't. So obviously if price as of now, it's not really shifting lower, it's likely obviously seeking the high now. It's going to seek liquidity again. And what's that? I don't know why TradingView does that sometimes. So yeah, no shift in market structure. It's now putting obviously a bullish order block in place. I bought some Thailand drip today in the mall. I went down and into the mall. I only went there to get a like a plug socket, a new phone, 17, and a charging cable. And I seen these like shorts, these Thailand shorts, or whatever. I don't know. They almost look similar to some brand I've seen before over in a mall in Miami. And then obviously the essentials, you know, I got some Romeo Juliets from a cigar shop, and Dolce & Gabbana, whatever the hell the fuck you say it, aftershave, and some classic Sauvage. I actually don't wear Sauvage, I don't even know why I bought it, but I couldn't see anything else because they didn't have an LV store in Pattaya. They've got one in Bangkok, and I wanted to get the yellow aftershave because mine ran out. I actually smashed on the floor. You went Terminal 21? Terminal 21? Where's that? I think I did, yeah, I think it is Terminal 21. Is that what the mall's called? Oh yeah, I must have went Terminal 21, yeah. I went to a different mall the other day, obviously to buy the desk and the chair. And it's not really the chair I wanted. I wanted to get the Lamborghini chair, the gaming chair, you know, the one that they have sold by Secret Lab. And I asked them if they could order it, but they said they couldn't. So I just impatiently bought this one. But I'm going to order the Secret Lab, the Lambo chair. You know, it's an Alcantara Lamborghini chair. When is the Nissan GTR coming? I was just walking through the mall today and I asked the price of it. I'm not going to buy it because they asked for $1 million and they told me it's not even for sale. Now, you probably think $1 million for a GTR is absolutely off the... you know, it's crazy. It's not worth $1 million, even with the amount of tuning it's had to it, and the custom it's had. It's because it's in Thailand. Now, if the GTR was in the UK, I personally think the cheapest GTRs are in the UK. You can pick up a GTR for about 50k pounds, right? About 2017, 2020 GTR for about one trade, okay? And as far as it goes to tuning, it's going to need another 70 to 100k pounds on top of it. About 100k pounds, okay? So you're about 150k pounds in for a GTR that is running 2.5k brake horsepower. You upgrade the gearbox, everything, the drive shaft, the lot. Okay. Do they allow you to smoke weed in Thailand? I don't smoke weed, so but yeah, they do it. Yeah, you can buy it. I have smoked weed many times. I just choose that it's something that's absolutely pointless. Why take something that's going to slow you down? You know, I want something that will speed me up. Now, I don't take any drugs, but if I was to take something, I'll take something like cocaine. But I've never actually done cocaine in my life, and I never will, because I've got a heart condition. But why take something that will slow you down? You know, let's get to the money. Let's speed things up. I've only ever had weed and alcohol, and, you know, that's just standard stuff. I've never touched anything else that alters, you know, the neurological parts of your brain. Right, because that's what drugs do. They affect your brain to, you know, the way you perceive life, and your dopamine receptors get fried and everything. Do you still smoke cigarettes? No, I actually quit cigarettes completely. Completely gone, you know. I do smoke cigars, and I smoke a lot of shisha. A lot of shisha. I smoke probably one shisha every day, or once every 2 days. Yeah, once every day. But yeah, I stopped the cigarettes. I'm on the shishas. And I don't smoke vapes because vapes are gay, and also the vapes have a lot of chemicals in them. So it's like, you know, why consume all those chemicals? I'd rather just consume coal from shisha. So, you know, if you picture it like this, you're gonna die anyway. So you might as well consume substances that lock you in, you know. And that's for me shisha, cigars, coffee, and healthy food like you know, avocado, steaks, anabolic foods, you know, eggs, the right supplements, creatine. Shisha not the same as vaping. I mean, it is the same. It's just pretty much the same thing. Obviously, it's a vapor, isn't it? The thing is, obviously, a vape inside of those liquids. Sometimes you're smoking battery, and then also all of the chemicals in those liquids, you don't even know what it is. But the only chemicals essentially that you're consuming from shisha is water vapor, coal, what they put on the top of it, and any of the leaves or the flavouring. Nah, shisha's not actually better for you, I don't think. I mean, all of it's bad, isn't it? Apparently they say shisha, if one shisha session of 30 minutes is equivalent to like 40, 50 cigarettes. So it's like, I don't know which way you want to look at it, but, you know, everyone, we're going to be dying anyway, so, you know, let's make the most out of it. Yeah, everything's good and bad. If you eat 10 bananas in a row or 13 bananas in a row, you'd be dead as well. You know? Everything in moderation. As long as you don't, like, abuse it, smoking shisha all day 24/7, you're not going to be able to breathe. Yeah, so no trades as of now, and obviously we are starting to get to the end of the first day of macros, so, you know, if we take no trades, there's no trades. Agmatane sulfate. That's interesting. What is that benefit of that supplement? Brain health. Yeah, I'd have to look into that. It's interesting, yeah. Yeah, so how do you guys find these streams? You know, are they insightful? The way that we monitor price and, you know, we've marked out the levels and the way that we approach everything makes it a little bit clearer for you guys, you know, instead of when you watch the YouTube videos, you watch my silver bullet kind of where I put the model together, and then you're looking at live price action, and sometimes it's difficult to put it all together when you're new. But with the guidance, you know, and also learning and making money at the same time, you guys can learn the model, learn my thought process in real time, and avoid making the mistakes in regards to a dollar amount on your end, and still make money and learn. So that's the benefit. What's the plan of these streams and Discord? Are they going to continue for long, as they are very helpful? Yeah, of course they are, yeah. They're not stopping. They're not stopping, brother. You know, we're here for eternity. Eternity. Well, I won't crash the bike. I'm gonna live on, and we're gonna have and make a lot of money. Last week was only the start of the group, of course, and we're currently floating up 2.2R. Now, if I started the group, you know, say 3 months ago, 4 months ago, everything would flex in a nice P&L. But this is Q4, guys. This is the best, most volatile time of the year, you know. So we're going to have the best price action at the end of this year and the start of next year as well. It's going to be great. August, I closed up 16R, and I didn't trade pretty much the whole of September, but what I've seen from other people who trade similar, and, you know, one-to-one people that I was coaching at the time, they closed out September, say, negative 1.5R or like negative 1R. So, for example, you know, right now, end of macro, so there's no trades here. But if you close the same result as I did in August, plus 16R, and then you lose 1R in September, you're still up 15R. Across 18 accounts, 50k accounts, you're still up 50k, right? Over the space of one losing month and one winning month, you know, that's where you'd be, up 50k, 18 accounts, okay? And then this month, you know, 2.2R last week, and I closed, say, 4R or 2.5R the week before that. So this month I'm already up 4, 5, 6R. I need to calculate it. I don't really know off the top of my head. So we're already looking 20R plus in the past 3 months, which is insane. And I didn't even trade last month. I'm still 20R plus. Doesn't just reflect in me, it reflects in other people as well, you know. You can see the amount of payouts other people are receiving as well. So, guys, we're not going to, obviously, you know, talk too much. I don't want to bore you guys to death. So, I'm going to go collect my food from downstairs. So, I've just received the delivery. And then I will unmute the mic, let's say around 10:35, 10:40, and then we're going to lock in for the second day of macro and see what we get. So I will mute my mic and I'll speak to you guys shortly. Yes, guys, welcome back for the second day of macro. Hope everyone is doing well. So what we can see here is that I've looked at the bias and it's bearish. Okay, and if we look on the 5-minute time frame, we're not bullish, and we're in the 5-minute bearish gap, the 15 bearish gap, the hourly, the 4-hour, and the daily. Okay, so the bias is bearish. We've still had numerous sweeps of buy side. And ES has just swept the actual previous week high for ES as well. So we can delete these points of buy side that we've got. So inside of this macro, of course, we are looking for an opportunity for shorts. And the next step is that we see a shift lower in market structure following a bearish bias and a sweep of buy side. So one sec, let me just unshare my screen quickly. Just need to pull up my, what do you call it, my crypto. Don't worry, I'm not getting my fucking seed phrase out. You know those type of people, you know, they pull up their seed phrase on live stream and then they bloody lose the whole thing. Now I'm just pulling up my my Trezor because I need my address. I need to get my address for something. Someone's buying one of my watches off me because I don't want it anymore. We cannot hear you. Really? You can't hear me? No, I'm pretty sure most people can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can. I don't see why you couldn't. Alright. Yeah, it's only my Ethereum address. I mean, you can't do anything with it apart from obviously send funds to the Ethereum address, you know. So it's not a big deal anyway. Yeah, so it's the same address. Obviously, I'm receiving Tether, so it's still the same address as a Ethereum. That's the one there. So Ethereum and Tether address, same thing for Trezor. Okay. Alright, let me just send that over quick. One sec. There's no trades anyway as of now, guys, so nothing as of yet. We're looking for a shift lower in market structure. I'm just going to share my screen again now so you guys can see. Okay. Should be able to see my screen all good now. Top step still dead. Yeah. Yeah, guys, the mic should be better now, actually. What I realised, the whole of the first AM macro, I was on my MacBook microphone, right? So I realised I was on completely the wrong mic, and I had this one turned on, but it was on Discord, so the mic quality is probably better now. It's probably a little bit better. Servers down. Milo, you ever trade GC? What is GC? What is that? Gold? No, I don't trade gold, no. And, you know, if I was to put a very obvious prediction into what the price is going to happen to gold over the next 6 to 12 months, obviously we're likely to see price come back to a discount. That's plain sight obvious, that is. You know, you'd have to be an idiot to buy anything right now. Idiot. You'd have to be, you know, out of your mind to buy Bitcoin, the Nasdaq, ES, any sort of stock, any house, any watch, any car. Everything's overinflated. Just because the Nasdaq's at all-time highs doesn't mean everything that is a physical or it's a stock in a company, right? They all essentially rise and fall together. So buying everything as of now, including watches, you know, if I was to buy a standard GMT Pepsi Rolex, right now they are not much of a difference. I mean, it's basically the same price, but you will find that the price of a Pepsi has now changed, and I used to be able to get one for, say, 19k USD, and now you won't really find one lower than 21k USD, right? So we do see that change, and even, you know, the watch market does actually fluctuate quite a lot. So, you know, when the crypto market's down and the Nasdaq's come back to a discount, same with the watch market, same with real estate, everything. So right now it's like buying a loaf of bread for £10, $10, right? You're getting scammed. So why get scammed? Let's wait for a clean opportunity. If you're looking for more of the long-term basis, that's why, in regards to Bitcoin as of now, why I'm in a short. Okay, so I'm not risking barely anything on my portfolio. I'm still going to make 80 to 90k off the trade once the price comes back down towards 75k, and then that's going to be the biggest buying opportunity ever. Red Bull used to be £1.19, now it's £1.65. I remember when I was about 7-8 years old, right, that on the way back from, you know, school, like secondary school and that, yeah, in the UK, that I used to get at Sainsbury's, you know, the shop Sainsbury's in the UK, I used to get the custard donuts from Sainsbury's, and they used to sell them for 30p at the time. Now they're £1.50. So imagine if you bought donuts back then, you'd be up. Well, how much X is that? That's probably more than most, a lot of meme coins, you know? The price of donuts has, you know, 5x'd. The price of donuts has gone up more than the Nasdaq. in Sainsbury's. How did you know Bitcoin would drop? Many different things. You know, I've posted it inside of the Discord for you guys to monitor yourselves as well. And, you know, Bournemouth Pier inflated. Yeah. Yeah, Bournemouth Pit is a right shithole, mate. Yeah. But yeah, what's that? Someone just posted a screenshot of... What is that? That can't be a trade, surely. Yeah, so in regards to how do I know Bitcoin was obviously going to drop, I look at multiple factors when it comes to crypto, okay? And I look at and track very large institutional size wallets, which you can track on wallet trackers that I've put inside this Discord. So if you go to the crypto section now, okay, and you click it, and you scroll up, there's a bunch of links that I've put in there. So one of them is to track people's wallets, and you can track based off size and whether they're buying, selling, and you can kind of get some insider information on that, right? So there's that link there that I've put in there. There's also liquidation heat maps, so where you can see the majority of the liquidation resting at certain levels. So when the ETF was launched in 2024 in October, we've not seen price reprice back to that level since. We're currently sitting 70% above previous all-time highs, 60-70% from the all-time high that we just made, at about 124, 125k or whatever. Okay. Now, from 2012, Bitcoin is on a deflationary cycle all the way from the start. So, picture it like this. The first cycle for Bitcoin, say, ran 10,000%, then 5,000%, then 2,000, then 500%, and then this cycle's 300%. So, there's actually a formula, if you do the maths on it, of how much percentage it is decreasing as far as volatility each cycle and every halving every 4 years, right? So you got 2020, 2024 when we had the halving, and then 2028, 32, right? So every single time that we do have these Bitcoin runs and cycles, is that it gets less and less volatile, and the move is predictable from previous cycles and how far we actually are going to push. Now, other factors played into this cycle for it to push slightly higher, right? Such as the ETF and institutional interest, because before it was based fully off retail. Okay? And what do I think of Bristol? Oh, mate, Bristol's probably worse than Bournemouth. Bristol's one of the biggest shitholes. But you know what's worse than Bristol? Wales. Wales is off the charts. Off the charts. Yeah, so far no trades. I mean, the Nasdaq continues to draw higher. You see, in scenarios like this, I'd much rather not take a trade, because even if a model is presented with price action being extremely bullish of what we've seen since before the New York Open around 7 a.m, okay, that before we look to take some sort of opportunity for shorts, we do like to see some sort of accumulation, lower time frame manipulation, and then an opportunity for shorts. Now, taking a short from when a 1 minute displacement lower is not preferably what we actually want to see, and especially after a move like this, it's unlikely that we're going to get a move in the opposing direction aggressively back to a discount. So, I mean, we'll see what we get, but I'm just explaining my point of view to you guys. Yeah, so if we look on the hourly time frame at all-time highs, you can see we have relative equal highs sitting at all-time highs, so just have that marked out. I'm also going to mark out that other high as well. Alright, so we're getting a shift in market structure, but then no gap on NQ. So no trade. Similar to the first day of macro there, that we have a gap on ES but no gap on NQ. So we got a shift on both, sweep of buy side, bearish bias, but no gap on NQ, so no trade. It's been closed up. Interesting second day of macro here, guys. You know, obviously it's a Monday with no red folder news, and I don't know if you guys remember in 2024, but you know, when Donald Trump wasn't in office and we had Pooey Joe Biden, right? On a Monday with no red folder news, price action didn't move. It did not move. It just went sideways. And look at this. So great, isn't it? It's like we have potentially price shifting market structure lower now. It's good to see. And on the Monday with no red folder, when have you ever seen price action like this? It's very good to see. Wait, someone raised their hand to speak. Oi, Ollie, raise your hand again. Go on. Do the raise the hand to speak thing again. Try again. That was an accident, yeah? Oh shit. Just put my toe into the back of the desk. How you been, Ollie, anyway? It's been a while. Last time I seen you was, what, 2 years? It's been about 2 years. I think it must have been that gym, you know? The one opposite Little Dam. The village, or whatever. Well, I don't know if that's the right Ollie. Am I talking about the right one? No, it's the wrong Ollie. No, I've never met you. Because I know another Ollie T. I know you got cloned. There must be two Ollie T's. I know another Ollie, and I looked at your profile picture. I was like, nah, that's not him. I got a bit confused there. Oh, my bad. Just getting a bit bored with this price, actually, you know. So, guys, this is exactly what I just mentioned about 20 minutes earlier. So, obviously, what we can see here is price has just created a bullish order block, okay? Right. So, as you can see here, we had a move higher, aggressive, in price. A small accumulation period. Lower time frame manipulation on NQ above the short-term high, so it's set buy side. We have this bullish order block that we want to see inversed. The shift in market structure, which now a lot cleaner, we want to see below this low, right? I don't know why 27 degrees Celsius feels so cold on AC. Because when you got 27 degrees in any other country in Europe, it feels very, very hot. Here in Greece, 27 is just a simple day, yeah. Greece is a beautiful place. Whereabouts in Greece are you? Whereabouts in Greece are you at? Try being New York for December? Absolutely not. Gets to about what, -10 over there. Can't do that cold stuff. Okay, right. So with a shift here and not shifting below this low and shifting below this low, it means that we need to inverse this order block. So either way, we need to see... Yeah, either way, we can't see a shift below this low because it won't give us a valid order block to pair with a gap. It has to shift below this low. Has to. So we either shift below this low, otherwise we won't have anything paired with the gap. Depends on where in Miami you desire to be. Downtown Brickell. I mean, my favourite part of Miami, personally, is on the outskirts in Doral. You know, it's a lot quieter there and you can get a full house, you know, with a pool and a driveway and, you know, without the apartments. Okay, so ES has definitely shifted market structure, and then ES is about to close below this, which you can see here. NQ shifted below the low. Okay, now NQ's closing, or almost about to close below this low. Okay, so this fair value gap is up for entries once this candle closes, because ES is going to close below this order block. Okay, so that will be paired with the upper fair value gap on ES. So we've got that gap on both, shift on both, sweep a buy side, and then this is going to be, yeah, so bearish breaker on NQ. Okay, perfect. It's looking clean, this. So our entry and our point of entry to take a trade, okay, is this right here. So it's 10 handle stop. We're looking for 20, right? We're looking for a 2-to-1, and we're going to target the first 1 minute low at 2.69 risk reward. And if we don't get this area here, then we're going to have to take this area, right? Alright, so our point of entry is now off this gap, running a stop placement at the swing high for 20 points. Okay, so we either get the entry or not. If ES taps the gap, I'm in. It's a lovely trade, this. Lovely stuff. We're looking for a 2-to-1, so I'm targeting that 1 minute low for a 1.8, which is my minimum. 20 handles stop. Be taking this with 20 cons. Okay. So monitor ES there. So if ES taps the gap, then we do take the entry there on NQ. So ES is about to tap it, almost. There you go. So ES taps the gap and we're in. So we run a stop placement right there. So a 20 handle stop. And we're looking for a 1.8 risk reward towards that point of sell side, which you can see. We're running a TP 26575, and I'm going to run it at 267. Let me just mute my computer because obviously you can hear all of the Discord messages coming through from you guys. Okay, so you can mark out this gap, which is a breakaway fair value gap. That's a BAG. And then on ES, we have this same point of sell side. So for example, this trade might be cut short. Essentially, we're not going to get, if it runs in favor, obviously we're not going to get the full 1.8 potentially, because obviously when we look at ES, if ES takes that low, then we do close out prematurely on NQ there. Okay. Trader Vate looks like it's glitching a little bit. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so basically the only thing as of now that you have to think about is in regards to trailing our stops from this previous low. Someone mentioned about macro time. So with the macro time, when ES came up to the gap, it tapped the gap on the 15 candle. No, you're right. Yeah, that is outside of macro. Yeah, you're completely right. I believed it was the 11-14 candle. Yeah, we got taken out of this trade. This trade was invalid. I shouldn't have taken that trade. Invalid trade. Outside of macro. Did you ever get your money from Apex? No, I didn't get the payout from Apex. What, the 220k payout? No, I never got paid. Yeah, that trade, I must have not looked at the time, but it was outside of macro. Yeah, because the entry, because when I was seeing price displaced lower, it was still at 11.14, and the entry was at 11.14 from it coming up to this fair value gap, and then I didn't realize the next candle 11.15 was outside of macro, so that's a loss that shouldn't have happened. See, I don't look at trades that I take which are winning trades or losing trades. I obviously look at, am I making the right decision to take in a trade, and this was the incorrect decision, which has pissed me off. But it's fine, I'm up on the month, but it's not in regards to being up on the month, that's outside of the model. That's got to be the first time I've actually done that, to be honest, traded outside of macro. I think that actually is my first time. I've never ever done that in my life. I think I might have done that back in 2021. But it does happen, you know, sometimes you're going to make a mistake where you don't realise something small, like a macro being over. See, I must have thought that we were still inside a macro, but, you know, now obviously we're going to look at the lunch macro and see what we get, but that trade shouldn't have even been taken. But we're going to have to move forward towards the next macro. No problem. Why was your stop not at the wick high? Yeah, it was at the wick high. What do you mean? But it doesn't matter in regards to the trade, the stop placement, anything. The actual model and checklist wasn't lined up correctly. That trade shouldn't have been executed. Regardless of stop placement. Stop placement, everything's valid. The trade was outside of macro. The whole model presented inside of macro. This candle was presented to be this one at 11.14, our entry off this gap, and then we ended up getting the lower gap, so I dragged it lower to obviously look for the TP, and didn't realize and acknowledge that we was outside of the macro. That's why I do mark out the macro times to remind myself of the window. For some reason I didn't have the end of the macro marked, but you know, no worries. I have to wait for the lunch macro. Can this be market trap? that it gave entry at 11. I don't know what you mean market. There's no such thing as market trap. Yeah, I must have got slightly distracted or something, you know, in regards to the macro timings. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. Alright, cool. Anyway, guys, so we're going to wait for the next macro. I'll mute my mic until 11:35, 11:40. And I reckon what caused me to not know that we was outside of the macro, probably got slightly distracted somehow. And I've never missed the macro in my life. That's the first time it's ever happened. I don't ever make mistakes. But mistakes do happen. And the mistakes that, you know, occasionally that I'd make is in regards to bias. Is that my bias wouldn't be fully up to date as I've taken the trade, and it might be flipping neutral at the time of taking my trade, for example. But I've already perfected that, and that doesn't happen. So to see that I took a trade outside a macro is quite disappointing. But there's no point dwelling on the past. You know, that was there, that happened. It was outside of macro. Shouldn't have taken the trade. Cool. Let's look at the next macro. And I'm still floating up, whatever, on the month. 3, 4R, 5R on the month. Just lost 1R. But we'll have to see what we get inside of this macro, inside of lunch. And then we'll work from there. Alright, yes guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at the lunch macro and see what we get. Now I will be marking out my macro times for this one, of course. Okay, so someone said no talking. Yeah, if I'm not talking, I'm not talking. If I'm talking, I'm talking, you know. So the only time, if you see my mouse doing like all of this, like I'm explaining something, and you can't hear me, that's probably because my mic would be broken. So it's good that people ask if I'm, you know, say the mic's not working. Obviously, I know you guys can hear me now, but sometimes it's been cases where I've been talking and no one's heard anything. So, but we don't really get that issue anymore. All is good. So yeah, we got a bearish bias, and I would like to see price come back up and sweep this lower time frame buy side. And then in regards to ES, we could take out this previous high. We've still got, obviously, bearish SMT on ES, regardless whether ES takes that high or not. The second day of macro was unfortunate, but also a mistake that should not have occurred. So, you know, the reason why I didn't talk straight from the bat at 940 is because I got slightly frustrated with how I could possibly get distracted. But, you know, because for me it's extremely rare that I ever make a mistake, so I'm actually kind of like, you know, shocked that something like that would happen. But, you know, it's past us now, and it's not following the model, essentially, right? I couldn't care less if the trade hit TP or it got the result of what it did, you know. I literally couldn't care less. I'm looking at taking the right trades. Milo, you trade Top Step? No, I didn't trade Top Step, no. I wasn't able to log in, so I gave up on Top Step for today and didn't end up trying to log into Top Step. But I got into my Apex accounts. All the other prop firms work fine. Do you no longer trade the PM session? That's correct. Yeah, I don't trade the PM. I don't trade London or Asia. Sticky price action. Price actions, all is fine, to be honest. Obviously, it's just accumulating as of now, so I'm just waiting for manipulation. And if we get the manipulation above minor buy side, then with my bearish bias, I'll happily look for shorts and a shift in market structure. So obviously, we're waiting for step 2 of power 3. So it's accumulated, which is actually good for price action. You know, when price is trading essentially sideways, accumulating, right? Many traders would call that bad price action. Now, to an extent, if the whole of the New York AM session accumulates, then I don't personally trade the PM, but to have the most probable PM session, you want the AM session to accumulate and then manipulate around lunch, and then for the PM session you're going to get nice clean volatile PM session. So you can see there, that's accumulation, now manipulation above minor buy side. So now with our bearish bias, I would like to see this bullish order block get inversed and then have an opportunity for shorts to displace below this previous low. I'm just going to mark out, because in a minute and 20 seconds we got the 5-minute closing. So I just want to mark out the 5-minute bearish candle high, because I believe this is going to get inversed. And the draw would be the same high as if the 15 is bullish towards that high. You change your size if you've taken a loss already? Absolutely not. So if you actually read the section for account management in the Discord, right, in the account management section we only go to half size if your account drops below 75% of total drawdown. So for a 50k account, if you drop below 1500, you go at half size and you stay at half size until you get back above 90% of $1,800, then you can go back to the risk management plan of. Yeah, so basically as of now, there's been no trades in this lunch macro. Obviously we've seen price accumulate and then manipulate and then fail to actually give us an opportunity for shorts. So there isn't any trades that we can look to take here. So here we had a fair value gap originally, but then it closed up with this candle, and that would have been potentially a trade that we could look to take paired with a inverse order block. But yeah, no trades have actually lined up as of now. We've accumulated once again, and now we look for manipulation again inside of this lunch macro, but it's leaning towards more on the end of this lunch. Mistakes like the second day of macro, they do happen very, very rarely, and in fact it's so rare for myself to make a mistake to the point where I've actually never made a mistake on as far as trading outside of macro, that's actually never happened. But you know, I'm looking past it. It's not nothing that I'm focusing on as of now. I'm looking at this macro, and we either get an opportunity or we don't. And either way, we're likely still close this week up in a profit anyway. So it's only negative 1R so far. And last week we closed up plus 2.2R, so we're currently up 1.2R due to a mistake. What's your win rate on the model? I've got a 58 to 59% win rate based on a 2-to-1 risk reward. That's my win rate. So according to risk reward is very important when someone talks about win rate. You can't say I trade this model with a 85% win rate. Okay, but what's your risk reward? Because that ultimately depends whether you're profitable or not. You can trade a 30% win rate and be very, very profitable with a higher risk reward. We just need 50% if we get 2-to-1s. No, you need 30%, 33%. %50 win rate and above to be profitable is off a 1-to-1 risk reward. That's why when you look at the casino, they pay you off a 1-to-1. So they pay you whatever you put down. But it's different as far as a 2-to-1. So you're talking 2-to-1, which consists of a total of, as a fraction, 3 out of 100. That's working down to 33.33%. So essentially anything above that as a win rate is profitable. That's why when we're sat at a 58% win rate, it's extremely profitable. I used to be closer, more or less, to a 54% win rate, but when I changed my bias to the way that I do it now, it's definitely edged it slightly higher to where it is now at 58%. Oh yeah, 100%. Some months it varies massively, but I'm talking over the space of 1 year or 3 years in total. And you know, month to month, I've had months where I've closed out with a 90% win rate. I've also had months when I've closed out and only had, say, 40% or even 35% win rate that month. So it does vary massively. Milo, can you clarify on 15-minute bias? That bit's confusing. When price tapped into the 15-minute bullish early gap at that point, 11 AM, we are neutral as they're overlapping. Well, the 15 minutes still neutral, as nothing has changed. So obviously price trades into the bullish gap, but it's also in the bearish gap. Price trades higher and is inversed the bearish gap to the left as of this point, right? So upon the inverse, we're bullish with this candle closure, right? So we're bullish until the next high or bearish gap. Price created a swing high on the 15, took it out, neutralized the bias, and then as of now is still neutral because we've not traded into any bullish gap. So we had another question. Where is it? Can you explain why daily bias is bearish? Does the daily candle need to close above the... Yeah, exactly. So as of now, the daily is bearish because we assume that a fair value gap is respected until it's inversed. And on the daily as of now, we assume the daily bearish gap is going to be respected until we get told otherwise. That at the end of the today, we look at price, and if the daily's actually inverse the bearish gap, then it's either going to be bullish to the next high, or if we take the next high, it would be neutralized. So hopefully that makes sense. How occasionally do you backtest, being where you're at now? I backtest every single Saturday. In regards to whether it's a winning week or a losing week, I still backtest regardless. So I've had weeks when even in August of this year, a couple months ago, right, I closed out one week which was +6 or 8R on the week, okay? And I still backtested, of course, through that whole week, because it doesn't matter if you have a winning trade or a losing trade. Probability lies that you can make the wrong decision but still end up with a profitable result. Now, when I backtest, I'm backtesting my winning trades as if they're losing trades, and I'm backtesting my losing trades as if they actually are losing trades, because they are. So I picture everything as a fault until I prove that it's not a fault. If that makes sense. So you want to be essentially a perfectionist to ensure that the trades you're taking are as close to the model as what I've laid out as possible. And if they are, then you are as close to profitability as possible, and you're following the absolute highest win rate you possibly can get from the model. And if you want your win rate higher, then you're going to have to find reasons on why the majority of the losing trades that have occurred throughout that year, and is there any patterns or any sort of things that occur frequently on some losing trades that you've taken. And that's what I've done over the past 3 years. That's why I've managed to simplify the model and narrow it down so much to where I know that a fair value gap on both is essential. If price takes the New York Open low or high, obviously that's a point of buy side or sell side, right? If that's against the trade, I'm not going to take it. If we have the bias and a sweep of liquidity, they must pair together. It's essential. So things such as that are very essential, and based off probability and based off the trades that I've taken over the past 3 years, those are essential, and they make a massive difference as far as probability if it's not there. Just as you've seen last Friday when I guide you guys through that macro, and many of you guys said obviously it's a clean short, but it's plain sight obvious that it wasn't valid, and then probability lied obviously against us, and the trade got stopped, right? And we didn't take any trades on Friday, nothing. We just sat through, patiently waited, and there was nothing for us to take, right? I've been watching your 2025 mentorship, picking up the principle, backtest it until my decision lines up with your description. I still get bias wrong sometimes. When I do my trades, usually fail. Yeah, so when it comes to the bias, you only have to mainly look at the 5 to 15 minute time frame and just make sure that you're staying on top of that. But the daily, the 4 hour and the hourly, they don't change as much. But as of now, guys, obviously we're outside of macro, on the lunch macro, and we are done for the day. Unfortunately, you know, because of a mistake, I'm down 22k on the day. But it's nothing to pay attention to. My 22k loss for some people on 150k account is just minus 300, right? So everything's in the same proportion. It's just negative 1R of a mistake that shouldn't have been made. Can you review the 5 minute bias again currently? Yeah, sure. So obviously the session's done and we are outside of macro now. So if we look at the 5 minute as of now, you can see that it'd be neutral. So all the way to the left, we have the 5 minute bearish gap. It got inversed. We would be bullish to the next 5 minute high or bearish gap. 5 minute trades higher, takes out a 5 minute high. No, one sec. We didn't take out this high because we inversed the 5 minute on this candle. So the 5 minute is bullish as of this point after inversing the bearish gap to the left, and we have not taken a 5 minute high, so we are still bullish on the 5 minute. And even if the 5 minute trades any lower than what it is, it's going to trade into that 5 minute bullish gap. Either way, the 5 minute right now is bullish. Hopefully that answers your question. That makes sense. Alright, so that is the end of the stream for today, guys. And obviously we've monitored all of the macro, and there's been absolutely no trades for us to take apart from the one in the second day of macro, and that's not classed as a trade to be taken. So essentially today is a no trading day. It's a no news Monday, and we will see what we get tomorrow. Now I'm still obviously going to post and upload the live stream, etc., so you guys can choose to rewatch this if you want. That'll be on YouTube for you guys as well. And any questions that you do have, make sure to drop it inside of the question chat on the Discord, because I do know that a lot of people inside of the Discord are very experienced, and some are more experienced than others, and they can help bring up the members from the bottom and bring them to the top, because everyone wins in this. Everyone's putting W's, yeah. I appreciate it. Obviously, I'm just here to guide you guys through the New York AM session correctly and making sure that we make the correct decisions. But obviously today, for the first time ever, I made the incorrect decision from a mistake, 30-second mistake. So yeah, people inside of here, including myself, will ensure that the questions asked inside of the question chat on the Discord are answered thoroughly, and also if the question is quite complicated or needs explaining on the live stream, that's what I'm here for, also on the live streams as well, to break that down for you guys as well. More channels are coming to the Discord as well, so before we cut this stream off, I'm just to explain, obviously there's more channels coming into the Discord to benefit you guys to the highest level possible. When you are taking payouts from multiple different prop firms, obviously you don't want cash sat to the side, so obviously we have the real estate section, the crypto section, and I'm going to see of other sections that we can add to the Discord of knowledge that I know that I can transfer to you guys, which is also going to make you money as well. So stay tuned for that as well. And guys, until tomorrow as well, I'll speak to you guys shortly at 9:20 AM. Take it easy.